Happy Monday, y'all. I, I've been in the South too long when I start saying y'all.
What? Yeah, you have.
Yeah, it's colloquialisms.
That's okay.
So on today's show, we have Miss Latasha Williams. I've known Latasha Williams for years. I've tried to talk her out of many of a photo shoot, but somehow she tries to bring me back in. I get on her darn nerves, and I was like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" And she's like, "Well, okay, but what are we going to talk about?" I was like, "Talk about anything." She said, "Anything?" I say, "Anything. You're not going to hurt my feelings." So I think that surprised her. So let me put on the show Miss Latasha Williams.
Hi.
Why'd you say hi all like shy? You ain't never been shy.
I know I'm not shy. I didn't want to blow anybody out. Turn your volume down because I do get loud. A lot of people probably pretty much know that.
Okay. So your camera is on your opposite side, so you got to turn
Okay.
it towards your camera a little bit.
This way?
Yeah, just because that's your happy spot.
Hi.
So,
No, stop.
so Latasha, I've known you for years. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of what we'd say controversial photo shoots.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to talk about your, how would you want to put it? Your political views. Okay. Mm-hmm. Your political views, how you're feeling, what's going on. And a lot of stuff that I've shot for you dealt with race and intolerance.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What inspires you and what made you choose that path?
Okay, so I've always been into images. I love images. I love what images, the stories that images that images tell. So being that I was transforming my hair or bringing my hair back from my perm state, which was some years ago, up until now, I get a feedback. Up until now, I always wanted to give images that showed different political views of what it is that Black women and Black people period experience, but mainly through Black women and their hair and the transformation that it takes and the political views that you go through when you're transforming, when you're going from natural and when you're returning to your afro hair or your locked hair. So with that, I chose to I've just gathered up a group of women, any type of women that had afro hair, and there was always a theme attached to it. My most famous one, or not, I won't say famous, but I will say that one of the images went viral was the shoot that I did with Colin Kaepernick, and it was about 7 women. No, it was probably about 10 women. And I got them all T-shirts with the number 7 on it that represented him with the the California it was the 49ers, right? Mm-hmm. And they were kneeling in front of the American flag that was showing bleeding.
Yeah.
So they were just images that
I remember Googling that for half an hour to try to find something for the projector.
What that particular
remember we had
flag,
we did the projector,
yep. Yeah. I remember it was right there on the white wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that, and one of those images actually went viral on Instagram. But they're just images. Everything, I think that we remember more of what we see more so than what we hear or more so than what we read. So the images that are in the Black community are far more important than I think anything else.
Okay. So what started you on this trend? What was your motivation for doing this in the first place?
First of all, it goes back to my artists. So everybody knows my 3 favorite artists are Jill Scott, Lauryn Hill, and Erykah Badu. So back when I had my son, and I was raising my son by myself in Maryland, right on the outskirts of Washington, D.C. As a Black woman, and you're doing that by yourself, it's more so when you're raising a little boy, more so than you will a girl. But I was going through so much. I was raising my son by myself. I was working at a predominantly Black university. I had no help, besides a little help from my mom or, a little help from my siblings or whatever. I had no one to really connect. I had lost my dad like a few years before, and me and my dad were extremely tight. So with me losing him, who was my backbone, he was literally my spine. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I had no other way to connect to anyone except these 3 women. So I always wondered what it was about these women that that I love so much. Like, it was more so I love their words, but it was something else. But at that time, what I realized is these three women were natural. And that was during the time that I was going through my process as well. So the words that they were saying connected with me and what I was feeling and what I was going through. So I just graduated to this love of these women. Like, to this day, I still listen to their music like it came out yesterday, especially Lauryn Hill. She's probably my ultimate favorite. She's probably my top favorite. Then Erica, then Jill, but they're my top three. Like, I can't ever distinguish like which one is my favorite, like right now. You know what I'm saying? So my connection with them, along with trying to get him right, like even now, he still knows the lyrics to all of those songs. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things that got me started. And it was really all from my hair.
Okay.
You know, I think when you stop putting all these chemicals in your hair, there's a transformation that takes place in your brain. There's nobody that can tell me that it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And once you stop that, you start thinking about, okay, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do in this world? They're just things. And then not only that, you're going totally against the European ways of how Black people should look in the workforce. Thank goodness I was at an all-Black university and I didn't, it was accepted. But then after that, and I moved into corporate America, and you had this Afro girl in corporate America, people just started to look at you lopsided, like, oh, are you going to stay like that? What are you going to do? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, well, gosh, I don't want to be looked at like that. And I went through another transformation, and guess what happened? I got a perm. The worst thing I ever did in my life. I regret going back to that because I started going natural back in 2000. You know, when I moved to Maryland in 2000, that's when it all started. So then when I had to go back to that, I was like, oh, this is not good for me. So then I started my lock journey. And then after I got my lock journey, the second time I got this job that I have, and they were like, okay, that's not accepted. So so I had to cut them all off, and I started over, went back to Afro, and here I am. But yeah, that's where the journey began, all the way back then.
Okay.
What was that, 20 years ago?
That wasn't 20 years ago. I've only been doing pictures for 10.
2000? No, that was before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you started on this hair, and now we're on the protests. Mm-hmm. So what do you feel about the protests? Do you feel they're actually going to do anything good? Do you think it's a good start to a conversation? When you first saw all the stuff, what were you thinking?
Oh, these protests are damn good.
Okay.
These protests are everything. And the good thing about these protests is that they are, what is this, Generation Z? This is a millennials. This is a millennial and Generation Z. And it's weird because millennials, I'm Generation X. Generation X, I think, gave birth to the millennials. And now we have some Generation Z's mixed up with the millennial, it's just going down the road. But it's weird because I feel like this generation right here is saying, nah, the buck stops with us. It stops with us. Mm-hmm. This is it. But there's so many feelings I have about it because you don't know if that's it or if there is fear of like retribution from Black people. Sometimes I feel like that. It's like, are y'all scared that now that we're really revolutionizing that, we're going to do something new, and that's not even, that's not how Black people get down. We don't do that. We don't have a hate in our heart to try to get back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so I sometimes wonder if it's that. And then I talked to someone a few days ago, and they said, and I was like, and I asked them the same thing. I was like, yo, what you feel about, what do you feel about the white people that are protesting like this? And he responded and said, and this is something I never thought about. And it may be trivial, but he said, Tasha, I think it's a hip hop culture. I think hip hop has a lot to do with, and I was like, what? What sense does that make? He said, you think about it. Who listens to hip hop now? Yeah. My mom doesn't listen to hip hop. I'm sure your mom does. You know what I'm saying? It's like the generations before not really listening to that. And it's like, I think some white people are empathizing with Black people so much. It's like, even through hip hop, it's like, we're going to share your struggle.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, y'all going through this, we gonna go through this with y'all. So I think hip hop culture too probably has a lot to do. But I'm all for the protests. I'm all for everything that they do. A lot of people say, oh, we shouldn't be burning buildings. We're burning down our communities. But nah, look at what it took to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? All of these years we were peaceful. And in principle, we are following Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. In principle, he was very peaceful. But in principle, this is the height of integration.
Okay.
This is the height. This is what I think this is what he wanted. Before, if you remember back in the 60s, they were being hosed. They were being, attacked by dogs. They were doing everything. But now you actually have white people being pushed down with their skulls getting cracked. And it's like, wow, this shit is really happening. Yeah. And they are in with us. And their influence, imagine if this were even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Imagine where we'd be now. So I can't wait to see 5 years from now what's going to happen.
Okay. So you had mentioned burning buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you think a burning building would help the cause?
It's not about it. How it helped the cause is a voice. That burning building represents a voice. It's not the fact of a building. You know what I'm saying? Had it been my building, with my business, would I be hurt? Would I be, I'm almost positive I would be. Or if it were my house, or or even if it were my child that did it, that lit something on fire. But it represents a voice. It's a freaking building. We're talking about a building versus a life.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
I completely understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to follow the train of thought. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I love the protests. I love conversation getting started. Mm-hmm. I love all that stuff. I don't agree with the burning of the property because I don't see what comes of that other than destruction.
If it were not a burning building, Colin didn't burn one building. Colin Kaepernick, he didn't burn one.
No.
Where did we get?
He started another revolution. It's taken time for that to take effect, but change takes time.
How is it taking effect though? Now we have cops kneeling. After we had to go through all of this, now you want to kneel?
So
no.
The cops are kneeling for public relations. That it's not because they want to. It's because they have to try to appease people, so they have that perception of they're doing something. That is a surface response.
Okay.
That's not a deep response.
Okay.
I want deep change. So Kaepernick has a lot of people went against what he did.
Right.
Okay. I, as a military member, first disagreed with what he did, but I had to look at it differently. So I, like everybody, am growing. I'm changing as I get older. I have 2 biracial sons. I have to explain to my son, hey, if you get pulled over, you're going to get treated differently than I'm getting treated, and I don't know how to tell you this, so talk to your mom, because I will never understand. And those are hard conversations I'm having to have. BB's 16 years old now. He's driving his own car. My thing in Brunswick County is a little bit crooked sometimes. I don't want him getting pulled over and harassed.
Right.
Okay. So I will never completely understand. I can say I sympathize. I can say I empathize. But now I'm trying to learn. So a lot of this show is about me trying to understand so I can have better talks with my son. That is my goal for the show.
Okay.
Okay. And the more interviews I can do, the more I can understand.
Right.
So now looking back with hindsight, as my son's getting older and I'm starting to have these conversations, I understand what Kaepernick was doing. At the time, I didn't. But that's part of me growing. I think it took a strong person to take that stance. It was him against the world. And as the more of these shows I'm doing, I'm like, oh crap, that's what's really going on the day-to-day basis from people. But up to that point, I had never seen that because I was never in that perspective. So now I'm cool with it. But the first time I was like, why are you just trying to get light? Aren't you happy making all the money you're making? And that was foolish of me.
Okay.
So because of the stuff, it's forcing me to grow as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
it's great. Yeah.
You think it's great that we are now kneeling? You think it's
No.
You think that the whole your view on the whole protest period?
No. I'm happy we're having the conversations now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I could care less about a knee. I care about why we're taking the knee.
Right.
And where your heart is. why you're taking the knee. Are you taking the knee for an Instagram post? Are you taking a picture with the crowd behind you for an Instagram post? Are you doing all this stuff for an internet post? If you are, you're wrong.
Right.
Okay? You should be trying to instill change. Things need to get fixed. Oh, and FYI, guys, we are live. So if you have a question for Latasha or me, put us up in the board, and if I can see it, I'll read it to you guys. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I want change. I don't understand still to this point the building, the destruction stuff. That I get that sometimes you have to do something drastic to get attention.
Right.
And I get that. But as a business owner, I have a hard time with that.
Right.
But
I get that.
I'm trying to learn. So that's why I'm asking these questions.
I think you have to understand the history of black people. You know, they in Alabama they marched in Selma. Martin Luther King marched on Washington we marched, and then Trayvon got killed, and then we wore hoodies, and we held up some Skittles and some iced teas. Then even as recently as Ahmaud Arbery, we had people jogging, they were running through the streets. It don't work. It does. It's simply, if it has worked, it has worked in the way that it has progressed. And the progression has simply gotten to this. But all of the peaceful protests, had this started when Colin took a knee, we would have had some change by then. But Colin took a knee and he started a revolution, and I absolutely admire, I love that man for that. Because one thing he did was he risked his entire career. Even though he wasn't hurt for money, we pretty much know that. But yeah. he risked everything he loved. He loved football. That man loves football. Sure. And he risked that for this. But there had to be something else. There was a lot of bread, there was a lot of mayo, but we needed some meat. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And and honestly, I don't like the act of violence. I wish it would not have happened. I wish it would not have had to come to that, but it did.
It did.
And look what we have. Look where we are. You know what I'm saying?
I think this is the kind of a twofold why it happened the way it did. Okay. Everybody has been out with coronavirus.
Right.
Okay. Everybody can now sit at home and watch. We have more time than we did before. We were tied up in our hustle and bustle of life. So a lot of people were just like, oh, that's what happened now. That was a one-time incident. And they kind of let it by. They'll like be big about it for a second and then let it go. Right. Mm-hmm. When the coronavirus, it slowed down life. So we had more time to watch stuff, because we had nothing else really to do other than try to survive. Now with the George Floyd thing, with that happening, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. We're all in a hypersensitive state right now. We're all in this. Maybe this was the perfect catalyst to make this explode for the next big change. This could be our new revolution.
Oh, I think this is our
Boston Tea Party.
This is. I thought about this on the way over here. I was really, because it's like almost an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from me here. But this is almost our new world. No problem. I think this is probably a new world order. I think this is a way that. Okay, let's go back to the pandemics. I mean, I see what you're saying about the time on our hands, but you also have to understand that this is a buildup.
Oh yeah, 200 some odd years.
Right.
Yeah, I
400. Not necessarily from the pandemic and okay, so we're sitting back and we're reading more and we're doing more and we're it's not necessarily from that. Because from that perspective, it's like saying we were bored or people were bored.
No. So
almost.
I see where that could be misconstrued as that.
Right.
That was not my intent.
Right.
My intent was we're finally getting sick of it and we're finally going to do something about it. And this was just the perfect set of circumstances to evolve it where we're finally going to do something about it.
Really? So do you think it was, it sounds like what you're saying is you think it was constructed, it was planned.
No, I don't think this was planned. I think this was maybe divine intervention.
Oh.
I think
gotcha.
This is, God works in mysterious ways.
Right.
And he's made martyrs before.
Oh yeah.
And this could be that. It's like, if you guys aren't going to change on your own, maybe I need to step in and cause change.
Okay.
Because it is time for us to change. We need to get past all this bull crap. And sometimes it takes extreme measures. I mean, we've done floods, we've done hurricanes, we've done lotus, we've done famines, we've done
Killer bees.
yeah, we've done everything, and that wasn't working.
Yeah.
Maybe this will. Maybe we'll finally open our eyes.
I think this will. I think this has. I think this has made leaps and bounds in these last 11, 12 days. We've made leaps and bounds in comparison to the years.
Damn
years
right we
before.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. I mean,
and that's why I say divine intervention.
I think even I think Pennsylvania just made Juneteenth a national holiday. That just passed just a few days last week.
So explain to people what Juneteenth is.
Oop.
I know I went off topic real quick. You can finish your thing, but come back to it because a lot of people don't know. I grew up in North Dakota. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, I grew up in a small town. Let me be.
You're funny.
Oh, the camera's on you, girl.
Oh, I know.
I had to fix my belly.
So Juneteenth was and it's actually the Independence Day, or for Black people.
Okay.
Never mind July 4th. Juneteenth. I think it's June 19th. I gotta remember. I think it's June 19th. I gotta Google and remember. But I know it's coming up. It's probably. I think it's next week actually. But it's June 17th, 18th, 19th is one of those days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that was so easy of an answer. I thought I was going to get a lot more involved.
Yeah.
So now it's back on.
Yeah,
me.
I got it.
All right. So we've got the protests going on. So what are you doing to help affect change?
There are two things I'm working on that I can't speak on it at all right now. I'm actually going into phase 2 of it, but phase 1 is such a long process. But I'm working on.
So talk about phase 1.
I can't even talk about it.
Okay.
What I will say is oh gosh, how can I? It's a national project that I'm starting.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say.
That's all you're going to say about it?
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I didn't even want to say that, but it's something that myself and a few other women in a few other states we're working on it. We're working on it really, really hard. And it's a national project.
Okay.
Hopefully it will be global because I'm working with a person from another continent. So that's just all I'm going to say on it.
Okay.
And it's funny because I started working on this. I went on leave from my job, I think in March. Yeah, the beginning of March. And I started it probably a couple weeks after that, which was this was even before Ahmaud Arbery. This is before any of that. So after all of this has happened, it's like,
it's just fueling the fire.
It's fueling the fire. It's and it's just escalating. It started off something kind of small, but now after all of this, it's like, oh shoot,
Okay.
It's just expanding.
Sure.
So the other thing, I haven't made a complete 100% decision on yet, and I won't say what that is at all.
Okay. So,
but in addition to that, I'm supporting other people. I have not been to any, protests or anything like that, but I highly support people monetarily.
Sure.
Like easily.
Sure.
Like with no problems. Yeah.
So have you noticed something different about these protests than past protests? Because I have.
Not really, except the age group.
Well, think of it this way. Most protests that I've seen maybe last a day or two. We're already into into day 8.
Yeah. I noticed
which is
that.
phenomenal.
Day what?
This is day 8 or day 9.
No, this is like day 11.
Really?
Yeah.
For Wilmington?
Oh no, not for Wilmington. No. I'm speaking
for national.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not on national level.
Okay.
I'm still on Wilmington level.
Yeah, I think this is like day 8 or 9 for Wilmington.
So that alone is huge. I really think that we're going to have to protest probably a good solid month or 2 months to really start getting people in here, where we can actually start getting judges in here, where we can actually start getting the police chiefs in here. Because before, when we protested, right, people would protest for a day or two. They're like, oh, okay, they got that off their chest.
Right.
It is what it is. all right, cool. Now I just did my little horse and pony show, and we're gonna say we're gonna change, but we're not. I'll be elected out of office before it happens. People are realizing that they can't get away with those tactics anymore. They're gonna actually have to start putting things in place to really make things happen.
I think this is going to go on far longer than a month or two. I mean, anytime you drive down, what is that street?
They got permits for a whole year.
Really? That's what I'm saying. This is going to go down probably anytime. What's the main street?
Third.
And I saw a BLM. I saw Black Lives. I was like, oh my God, Wilmington is really doing a thing. Someone posted the other day that there was a guy on a really busy intersection here in Wilmington. I can't remember which one it was, but he was the only man out there.
Okay.
He was the only one out there holding a
Market?
black. Yeah, I think that was. And he was holding a Black Lives Matter sign. He was the only one out there. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
They doing the thing right there. Well, we see but so I think it's gonna go on. It's gonna go on past. It's gonna go on past that. It's gonna go on past a couple of months. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of change before I think this generation right here. I'm so proud of these brothers and sisters. These white guys. I can't, it's unbelievable. It's like, dang. And this is what made me think back to the Martin Luther. Like, this is what that man wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, this is integration. This is true. This is it. This is how it does. This is how it goes. We all out here. You know what I'm saying? And I it's going to go on far past a couple of months. And I think now they're talking about defunding police departments. I mean, that may be a beginning, but you can't defund, you can't define police departments. If I call 911, I want somebody to show up.
Sure.
I mean, we can't possibly do that. But to know that these mayors and these higher officials are even thinking on that level, seriously? Yeah, it's going to go on for a long time.
I think they're finally learning that people are going to start watching them and start holding people accountable now, which is going to have to force change within the department, so they can't get away with the same stuff they used to get away with. Right. Because I've been thinking about mounting like 3 cameras on my son's car, and just and then I thought the other day is like, well, Brandon, if you ever get pulled over, put me on speed dial so I can talk to them. And I'm like, wait, what a second, I shouldn't have to talk to a cop if my kid gets pulled over. I was like, I need to change my mentality because there's something wrong there. That should never have to come up.
I mean, that should never have to come up, but that's also welcome to the life of raising a little black boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to the point one time where I told my son, look, keep your registration on the dashboard. The weird part is you raise a revolutionary. You raise a little boy to say, to know his rights. And my child definitely knows his rights.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, my child knows his rights, but now I want him to be alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I always just assumed that he was just going to live. But now we don't have that option anymore.
B is 2 inches taller than I am without the hair.
Really?
So, oh yeah, he's a linebacker now. I'm like, boy, he could be intimidating to somebody.
Yeah. And then when you have like my son, he's a late millennial. He's a late millennial, or is he generation? No, he's not X, but he's one of the top people at the older, at the top of the scale
cusp?
for for millennials. And so now, you have this child who was raised on, who loves Tupac just like I love Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And he knows every word, everything from he knows all of his lyrics and all of his songs, and then he loves to play his music loud. Yeah. And I mean, and you have all of these things now. It's like, son, now you gotta say yes, sir. I never raised him to say yes, sir. Okay. It's always yes. You're always respectful. It's like, okay, yes, sir. No, sir. And it's still hard to get him to do that. Now he's at the point where he wants to buy a firearm, and I'm like, oh God, what gives? And it's like, so you're going through that. Imagine what we've had to go through from that point to now.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's really heavy.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's why we have to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Because someone who doesn't have to deal with it at all is not going to understand. Never. And I can talk to them until I'm blue in the face, but it's not going to change because they've never been in that environment. Right. They don't have to try to sympathize, empathize, or rely on. They're quite content with saying, oh, I have this many black friends. That pisses me off. The only thing that pisses me off more than that is I don't see color.
Oh, don't start me on
Yeah.
that one.
Well, no, let's start on it.
No, don't start me on that. I hate to hear that. I can't. And you know what? I don't know about anyone, but well, I will say this. Like I've been seeing my Facebook friends who, who are saying, "Oh, I got to go back through and delete some more people who I thought were this." Nah. I have like 3 white people on my page that I talk to consistently, and they are from the very beginning. They didn't want Trump in, and even now it's even they feel more so even now. So, dag, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so I don't have anyone on my timeline that I have to do anything like that. What was that you said right before this? Right before I started talking.
That before this or before
No, right,
about
no,
Trump
right before.
earlier?
No, just right before I started talking.
I don't know. I'm old.
You ain't older than me. Well, yes, you are. Yeah,
It ain't the age; it's the mileage.
yeah. But anyway, but yeah,
I got some miles, girl.
Yeah, we
We were talking about your kid getting pulled over. He wanted to get a gun, saying yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
we had to change his vocabulary. And that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to change a little 24-year-old from what he was raised to do all of these years into now? You know what I'm saying?
He's not gonna change unless he wants to change.
It's not even about wanting to change now. It's like, damn, do I want to live or or am I ready to die for justice?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And no parent wants that. No parent wants that. Of course, we all want our children to live, but at the same time, I'm in the same thing.
Yeah.
I worry about getting pulled over.
Okay.
Cop follow me here. I knew I was legal. But still, you always looking in the rearview mirror like, okay, I got my seatbelt on. My wallet is right here. I got to get my license from right here. I mean, that's sad that you have to run through.
Did I ever tell you about the stupid games I used to play? I had to do a shot of your face because you're looking at me like this.
Because I can imagine what this is about.
So I used to purposely let my registration run out and time how many months I could get away with not being pulled over. So my record is 8 months. But I would I always picture myself in a spy movie every time I was getting in the car with this, right? I'd be like doing all my burn notice moves. I'd be like, okay, there's a cop 3 cars back. Let me go ahead and take my right-hand turn. And yeah.
And then if they follow behind you, what would you do?
So I was like, all right, I was just expecting to get pulled over. And because I knew the worst case scenario, the worst that was going to happen to me is they were going to give me a ticket and I'd have 30 days to fix my registration. And that was the worst that was going to ever happen. And I was like thinking about that. It's like, my son could never get away with that.
Nah.
But boy, did I have fun trying.
Man,
can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine because I can imagine right now if that would have happened to any other, probably with anyone right now, white or black. Because I think what's happening now is that the force is being pushed on everybody just so they can continue to, so that they continue to have brutality against black people. So I think everyone's now is feeling it.
Yeah.
White, black, Hispanic, blue, green, they're all feeling it now. It's not like, okay, well, let's push back. Let's, and I wonder when we're going to have police chiefs, or I don't know the
rank structure.
Right. I don't know when are they going to pull back and say, look, we need some sort of retraining. We need to, like what? My line of work, I have to go and recertify every single year. Mm-hmm. Every single year, we got to make sure you know how to open this door, blow a slide, and get these daggone people off this plane. Every single year, like clockwork. Like, do they do that? Like, what sort of checks and balances do they have to, you know what I'm saying?
So right now, I know they're under the microscope.
Right.
So I was talking to Lily, and she actually wants to go through the police academy training and there's the highway patrol training. Or the sheriff's department training. And that way she knows what they're being taught, so she knows how to talk to people about stuff, which I think is phenomenal. I have not heard anybody else willing to go through that level of training.
That's here in Ireland?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know Lily. She was the one down there. You know Lily Nicole, right?
I think I might be Facebook friends with her.
Okay. So she's the one who's talked about doing that. So her and Tim are the two of the main people down there coordinating everything. But anyways, so she literally wants to go through the training camp so she understands what that stuff's all about. But that will also give her the information of how often they're doing recertifications. That'll give her the information on, whether they're being actually taught. And that can start changing the mindset, because you cannot defend against an enemy you don't know. If you understand their tactics, if you understand their philosophies and why they do what they're doing, you can say, okay, I see why you think this, but here is what the reality of the world is from this point of view. And if you come at this with this is never going to mix. You
Okay.
cannot instill change that way. So now that you understand this and you have this point of view, you can now merge the two, still police the way we need to be policed, because we have to have a consequence system in place.
Right.
However, it's not like it was now. It's more equal. Nothing, unfortunately, in my lifetime is ever going to be perfect.
Right.
Nothing's ever going to be fair.
Right.
But we have to start the change today.
Do you think that's going to assist with the weed out process as well?
Of the bad cops?
Yeah.
They can't stay. Some are going to get through because they're going to be one person in public and another person behind closed doors. And with the social media stuff happen the way it is now, sooner or later we're going to find these people. But it's going to take time. It's not like throwing a light switch. It's not going to change overnight.
Right.
Things have to be put in place. But then we also have to find good people that are willing to step up into that position to replace those people, because we can't leave that position not there.
I think but there has to be some immediate, there has to be something immediate, like for this, what's his name? That the George Floyd that was kneeling on his knee, that officer, this man had 19, he's been on the force, I think, for 20 years, and he had 18 complaints.
Sure.
Why wasn't it at complaint number 3 something was looked into with him?
It should have.
Like that has to be something immediate. Like they have to look at these. I think they need to look right now at all of these officers and see what's going on with them. And it's time to start pulling them in.
Sure.
It's time. So because this, one thing I will say, should this happen again?
It shouldn't, but it probably will.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they were mad now
Yeah.
about a target. Should this happen again?
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's gonna. It's gonna. So
I can't claim that for another black man, because I pray it's not the black man.
It might
I
not
know,
be a
but
black
still,
man. But we know the world.
But we know the world that has this. Who has this happened to otherwise?
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's hurtful. Like
No,
we
no,
could
I
go.
get-
We have a list.
Yeah.
It's a list of us. You know what I'm saying? Even including women. But I can't. Should this happen again? I'm thinking about that. I've been thinking about that. Like, oh my God, this can't happen again.
Yeah.
It can't. So I think there needs to be some immediate. There has to be something done immediately.
So what can we do immediately?
I don't have a clue.
Okay.
Because I'm not first of all, those that, like I said, those that have issues now, they need to be pulled immediately. Something needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
So here's what I'm thinking. Okay. And Lily talked about this, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. So I sat and thought about it some more. So the kickback we're going to get is money, right? Because money is an easy
Always
solution.
an issue.
What if we did an oversight committee that was civilian based? Okay, we get a couple of different volunteers in different parts of the community, and they sit down as a committee and they review each of our police officers, their personnel files and whatnot. Basically, like another human resources, but not part of the department, part of a civilian oversight. Because if people volunteered for that initially, and after maybe 6 months, the budget would finally show up to actually pay these people. But now we can start reviewing each of these officers. Like, okay, you've already had these problems 6-7 times. What training have you done to fight this problem? Or are you just a bad seed? If you're a bad seed, get the hell out of here. We don't need you, because you are an employee. At any other job, you can be fired if you're not doing your job properly, right?
Right.
Why should this be any different?
But why should civilians have to be pulled into it? Shouldn't we elect these officials? Shouldn't they know?
They
Shouldn't
should know,
right?
but they don't. And until we cannot change a system.
They know.
But have they changed anything?
By choice. That's it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So now you need a third.
Yeah.
Like a third set of eyes to come in and take a look at this.
You bring in.
But it's sad that you have to do that.
Damn right, it's sad.
Right. That's. I mean, it's another 4-letter word. ED up.
Yeah.
But
I'll say it fucked up.
Right. It really is, because you should not have. We should not have to have anything like that.
We shouldn't, but we have to. So the thing is,
So how can change truly happen?
you're gonna have
You
to.
see
hold,
what I'm saying?
I get you, but if you hold people accountable by something that's not within their thing, it's gonna force them to be more vigilant about doing other stuff, because now they know if in their current system, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they do something, they're gonna get a slap on the wrist and they're gonna just put back in their patrol car and go to work, right?
Right.
If you bring in another oversight committee with actual real consequences that's not afraid to fire them, they're going to have to change or get out. And either way, we get the change we need because of that. Right?
All right.
So
I see that.
if that means that we have to put something else in place, well, so be it. I don't give a goddamn. I'm a business owner. Okay. If something's not making me money, or if something's not right, if I'm not doing my job right, nobody wants to come in here and do pictures. Nobody wants to come in here and do podcasts. So that means I have to change, because obviously I'm doing something wrong. Either my equipment's not good enough, my backgrounds aren't good enough, or my prices are too high.
Right.
So I have to change something to get the clients to come back.
Okay.
Police force is no different. If they are not doing their job and we are not wanting them to be around because they are not doing the right kind of service, we can't get rid of them. But what we can do is we can get somebody in here to hold them accountable, weed out the bad seeds, reward the good ones, replace the bad ones with possible new ones or possible new bad ones, and review them accordingly and vet each person. But until we start putting something in place, we're never going to get change, because we keep on dealing with the same.
Exactly. I see where that works. It's just sad that we have to resort to that.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's
But-
I mean, that shows us where we are in the world, where you have to where we have to have civilians to pretty much do a psychological test.
But
to see if
corporations
you're
do it
able to-
too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you think that with police I mean, I guess that goes to show my naivete and my trust in some systems. Like, you would just think like you just wouldn't have to go through that to that extreme to hire people that are supposed to protect you. But here we are, 2020.
We have to. Every business that starts to lose money or starts to lose their brand stuff, they've never been afraid to pull in an outside committee or a marketing firm or something to help them fix their stuff.
Right.
Why can we not treat this sector the same way? It is a business. They hire out people for protection services all the time for the movie sets and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
They get a paycheck for that.
True.
Private security, they do that. They should be treated the same. So if we have a problem, we know the problem, we have a solution for the problem, why not put it in place? And that will hold everybody accountable, and that will tucker everyone's buttholes up and get everybody start moving in the right direction.
All right.
Unless I'm wrong. But I don't think I am.
No, I don't.
And I think that's an easy, cheap solution to start.
Yeah, it's an easy, cheap solution, and it's still just the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's just the world. It's just a sign of the times. It's the world we live in.
But, I mean, I don't think it's so much a sign of the times. I think this has always been there.
I mean,
as far as having to hold people accountable.
When I say a sign of the times, holding people accountable, but I get you just don't assume people will come in like that.
But,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. How many people do you know at your job that just come in for a paycheck?
What about what I do?
And what you do, or any other job that you've ever worked for?
There are quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
And then you've got a few dedicated employees, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Why is the police department any different?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Probably should be, well, yeah. Now I get it, because I guess they should be held accountable even more so than.
Yeah. So,
Right.
But now I also think you have to reward people accordingly. Okay. So they're putting their life on the line, right?
Nah, we ain't getting ready to go to the rewards, because they ain't doing shit
no,
right from the beginning. So we'll talk later about the rewards.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. Y'all get it right now, and then we, give it 10 to 20 years or so, we'll talk about some rewards.
Okay.
Right.
I just look at it from a business standpoint.
Yeah, that's true, but you shouldn't have to be rewarded for doing your job.
Okay. Do you get a?
When
Do
you
you
do-
like it when you get a raise?
Yeah, like it, but that's a raise because with the inflation, with the what do you call it when you're
No, you're right. Yeah.
It's an inflation raise. You have to get a raise.
Sure.
I mean, it ain't like I'm getting a $20 raise.
But
I
what
mean,
you
know
could-
what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So well, in my industry, I could get $1 million raise with the billions and billions and billions that they make, of course. But I mean, we rewards.
Okay. No, I get where you're going with this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my thinking is we put this thing in place, right? We go at the review panels going. We now have a baseline. Nobody's getting a reward.
You
at
are
that point.
really stuck on this.
I am, because I think it's a viable solution.
Okay.
If you know me, when I get something stuck in my head,
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get you out.
yeah, but I mean that's how I started the studio, and like I have these visions and just like, sometimes I know something has to be done, and I just see it, and I've been racking my head over this for days. I was like,
I think I mean, I see what you're saying. I don't know if I should say. Well, I'm gonna say.
No,
it.
say it.
I just think in some instances where you have, I'm just gonna say it, in Pender County,
okay,
I just don't see that shit working
okay,
because there's. Let me just stop there. I just
Okay.
don't see it working.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Small town
Because
community, small
not
town
all-
mindset.
right,
Okay.
exactly, and they all have the same mentality. Unless you're black, we don't think like them. But sad to say, a lot of them, the majority of them, all think the same way. So, in that instance, who would you pull? They're not gonna pull us. They won't say, "Hey, Tasha, come in." They're not gonna pull us. They're gonna pull the same type of people, and you're gonna just have this cycle of the same bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, in some places it may work if you get the right, if you set up the right parameters, it may work. But Pender, I don't know.
So, I think if you organize your panel in the right way, right? So you have one
Jamie
or
is
two.
still, he's not going to, go ahead.
No.
Jamie, just go ahead and write out
My business plan.
please. Because
Okay, I'll start this. We'll go to another subject. It's just one of those things. It's like it seems like the perfect solution, and I know there's probably going to be something critically wrong with it, and I haven't figured it out yet. But I don't know. In my heart, it says right. But,
Really?
yeah.
I mean, I see what you say. It's sort of like a citizens review board, but in all cases, it's like you said, those small towns, small communities, there's always going to be a slip through.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the same snowball.
Well, and it might have to be county-wide. It might have to be a county committee. And then that way they can go into each of the smaller communities and then build up from that. But then we got to be careful of creating another alphabet, because that could turn into something. And then who watches them? Who's their oversight? At the end of the day, we're still dealing with people, and people are infallibly corrupt. And people could be there just to collect a paycheck again.
True.
So that's where we have the problem is we got to change the mindset of people. Why are they really doing what they're doing? What's important to them? And if they're not in there for the right reasons, they don't need to be there.
I think that goes back to what you said with me. People aren't going to change their mindset unless they decide to change it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but we'll see. Once you get it written up and proposed to the mayor and...
We know I'm lazy. I'm probably just going to talk about it. I'm probably not going to write it down. Anybody who knows me is like, when I even do the sets, I don't even draw something on paper. I usually just do it. I go to Lowe's, go grab a handful of wood and hope it's enough.
Right. Some screws and a hammer, right?
Then I go back to Lowe's 2 hours later because I didn't buy no stuff.
Right, exactly.
So I'm probably not the one you want to put this on paper. I'll be the idea guy, and I'll just pitch it to somebody a lot smarter than
Somebody will type it.
I am. Actually, I know who could do it. There's a girl named Ashley Daniels.
I know Ash.
Yeah, Ashley is a genius.
Yeah, Ashley. Yeah,
she would
Ashley
be
is a
phenomenal at
genius.
that.
She's probably
Ashley
like,
Daniels. Me and you need to talk about that anyways.
She's probably like,
She's going to be on the show.
oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to her a
Oh,
while
yeah.
ago. So we got
That'd
Judge
be
Faison
hot.
and stuff coming on. Yeah, I want people that are going to go dig deep. There's too many leaders around here that want to be leaders but aren't leading. And that needs to change.
They have a voice.
Yeah.
They have, yeah.
Yeah. And or they got to a position where they're afraid of pissing off the wrong people now that there's a little bit of money starting to come in. I'm like, I'm broke. I don't care. I'll talk when I want to talk. But I've always been
I
talking
don't
when I
know.
want to talk.
Depends on who, it depends on, like I said, it depends on it depends on their revolution.
Oh,
A
speaking
lot
of
of them
which,
not scared. A lot of them not scared to come on,
Speaking of which, you need money to help you out do your stuff. So Well, I need money too.
Yeah.
So I put both of our Cash Apps in the description.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
That way, if anybody wants to bless you and try to help you out, because you try to do a lot of stuff. You try to make change with images, and you try to instill a different train of thought, which is dope as heck.
Thank you.
So I want people to help you out.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I knew you asked for my Cash App, and I told you.
Yeah. Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
there's a method to my madness.
Yeah, I see it always is.
Usually more madness than method.
Pretty much. Like the organization of your shop.
What are you trying to talk about my studio
The madness
for?
in the shop, but it's
It's
still,
a mess.
Yeah, but it's
This one little area is kind of clean.
this organ.
Don't look under the desk.
Let's go, man. Keep going. What's up?
Nah, we're doing great. So I figure we got about 10 more minutes worth of stuff to talk about. Because we're doing great on time. Can you believe this has already been 50 minutes?
I know. I just looked down and I saw it was 40. It was 49.
Yeah.
It was at 4. I was like, wow, it's been 40 minutes already.
It's easy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of your past photo shoots.
Okay.
What has been the most impactful? Well, you already said that with the
Yeah,
Kaepernick.
Colin.
Is there any other shoots you want to do without giving up too much information about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually told 2 of them about it. I want to do something in a pool hall.
Okay.
And I had in mind thinking about people and people and women and their friends. And I actually wanted to be blowing smoke from a cigar with the circle.
Okay.
You know,
You're going to have to Photoshop then, and you can't smoke inside anymore.
no, inside of a pool hall, you can't smoke inside of pool halls anymore. Well, what if we move the pool table outside?
Now, unless you want to go to a little place I know of that's off the road, then yeah, I can take you someplace that there's a pool table and he won't care if you smoke in there.
Okay, well, anyway, I wanted to blow like a circle, and it would represent, who's in your circle, who's your circle of friends.
Sure.
That
You know you can
come
just
from the
Photoshop
inside.
that circle.
Yeah, I know you. I don't like Photoshop.
Yeah, I know.
But that I've been thinking about that one for a couple of years, but then with work and everything else, I just had to push it to the back for a second.
Cool. All right, Tasha. So what is your social so everybody can follow you and they can keep this conversation going?
I am on Facebook with Tasha R. Williams. I'm on Instagram as Onyx Crown Co. ONYXCROWNCO. I am also on Twitter as the same thing, Onyx Crown Co. And that's all my social media: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right. So have you changed any of your thoughts or seen another point of view being on the show for today? Have we opened the eyes at all? Because you opened up my eyes.
I think we have. I think one thing that we all have to do and what we all have to understand is we all have a revolution. Is every single it doesn't matter what you are, you have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And you have to, and I feel like if you're still living today, if you're still living, if you're alive right now, if you still have breath right now, you have to come to a conclusion. You have to figure out what it is in your heart that you have to do to push us forward. There has to be something. For me, it's beyond, it's still images. I'm still captivated by images. It's like, I look at images and I wonder, what happened before that click, and I wonder what happened after that click. So I'm still captivated by images, and I will still continue to work in that. But I think there's other work. There's hard work. There's a lot of hard work that needs to be done, especially right now. My hats off to all entrepreneurs that are taking advantage of their business acumen. And they're starting their own. They're, S. Lee just opened up her own apparel line. What was it? Yesterday? No, she announced it.
Yeah, Tiffany was telling me about it.
Yeah, she opened it up on Saturday. There's so many things that we can do right now to push the movement forward, and we just got to do it. There's no afraid now. Right now, anything goes.
Didn't Sundray already sell out?
You try it, huh?
Didn't she already sell out?
Yeah, she already sold.
Yeah.
She sold out yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like now you got to start with her her pre-orders for the next batch or whatever. But yeah, so there's so many things that can be done to push the revolution forward, and don't be afraid. We just can't be afraid anymore. There's no more time for fear. Ain't no time for that. Just do it. Just do it, and people will follow. But just step out there and just get it done.
Have a little faith.
Yeah,
Cool.
little faith of a mustard seed, they say.
Well, This has been a start of great change.
Yeah.
Let's get stuff going.
Yeah.
I'll just find someone to write up the business plan.
Please. If y'all know Jamie, please hit him up because he need help with that for real.
Yeah. I can barely spell my own name.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's somebody else. You said you was gonna hit up Ashley is absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
She's phenomenal. So
Yeah.
I
She's
can't,
one of the smartest people I know.
Yeah, she is. Isn't she a brainiac? She is
Dude,
really.
yeah.
She's really good. So I can't wait.
Yep.
I can't wait to see that transpire.
When two nerds collide.
I know. She's on another level though.
Oh yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. I
I
talked
know,
to her.
right?
I was like, not many people make me do that.
Right. Exactly.
But she made me do that.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's going to conclude our episode 4.
That's cool.
You guys did awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem.
I
Thank
can't
you for
believe
showing
it.
up.
I was gonna show up.
No, I mean, as far as like when I first talked to you about the show, you're like, you seem surprised that I didn't ask you.
Yeah, I was. I'm not gonna lie. I told someone. I was like, I said, Jamie wants comfortable conversations. He was, and not even thinking about the years of conversations and arguments that we've had right here in this daggone studio. But I was like, I think Jamie wants comfortable conversations. I'm not, Megan, I get it. But, he really wants some comfortable stuff. And then literally hours later, you hit me up and I was like, and I ran to the car. My son was outside and he was sitting outside and I ran and I told him, I said, look, somebody just asked me to be on their podcast. And of course he started with his jokes. Okay, look, I'm going to be a manager. And it's like, boy, stop. You don't even understand what this is right now. But yeah, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I should post our Facebook comments back and forth in the chat room. You're like, do you want comfortable conversations? Like, no, I want the real you.
Hopefully you got it. You should have gotten it.
Yeah. You gave us a taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A taste.
A taste. You got more in you. I know it.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to come back.
Okay.
Yep.
I will.
So once you get that other project going, and then we'll pull you back in. Because
Okay.
I think this one's going to be the podcast I actually keep going for a while.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep.
This is
It's something I can talk about.
It's needed.
Yeah.
It's really needed.
Yeah.
And I can't wait until it'll turn into, it's a podcast now, but it'll turn into, you're going to need those
movement.
movie seats back.
No, I won't. Nah. I'll keep it virtual
Okay.
until I get the new studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a Studio 3.0 out in my head that I want to build. But that's going to be the next level.
Okay.
So there's a company called Rooster Teeth, and they're based out of Texas, and they own about another 100 shows, and they have a studio space about 4,000 square feet, and they have rolling sets, and they just keep producing shows all day, every day, and they have a team of editors that help everybody out. So I want something like that.
All right.
So I can have 3 of my own shows going on, but other people who want to have their own shows, they can come in. But if I can structure it the right way, I can keep the prices down for everybody else so they can chase their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can have, so basically, so I can help everybody else, but still make enough money to cover the bills. So, because I got to pay each of the editors and everything else. So if I can do a point where I can do $120 per podcast for people,
Oh, wow.
that would be great. Because right now I have to charge more because it's just me trying to do everything, and I've only got so many hours in the day. But if I can put a whole team in place with a whole building where 2 or 3 shows are going at the same time, then I can afford to do it that cheap.
Oh,
That's part of my vision.
that's good. That's in the next, 6 months?
Girl, please. If I win the lottery, yeah, definitely.
I know, right?
Or if someone hits my Cash App, we'll see.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, the building I'm thinking about that I drew up on paper is going to be close to like $600,000. Equipment was going to be in about another $200,000, and then I got to pay. I want to have 4 editors on staff, and each of those will probably make $60,000 a year.
Oh, that's good.
So then, yeah, just try to match it. And then the person can come in and meet with all the editors and find out what editors best suits their personality.
Okay.
And then they can hire that specific editor for their show.
All right.
So they get exactly what they want. That's
Good.
the vision.
Very good vision.
All right.
Congratulations. I hope you make
Can't tell them all my secrets.
I know, right?
All right, guys. Thank you for a phenomenal show. Latasha, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I love you guys, and we'll see you later, and maybe even later today. Take care.